Hey everybody, this is Chris McCabe. Welcome back to Seller Performance Solutions, our wonderful podcast with a guest this week, Andrew Smith of Swapt QR. How are you doing?
Chris, thank you for having me. Doing great.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Is it Swapt for short?
It's swapped. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Swap for short.
Because I saw in your domain Swapt QR, right?
Yes,
So,
exactly. Swapped QR, swap for short. Might switch to swapped AI just to get in with the trend.
uh, nice,
Uh,
nice. Well, we're glad to have you on because your area of expertise and the material you deal with every day is extremely hot right now. I know it's going to be coming up at the next couple of events that I go to, one of which is the one you're sponsoring in New York, which is not that far away. It's coming up on February 12th from 7 to 10. We'll include the info on that in the show notes. But jumping in, maybe can you give some background on how you got into helping brands get the word out about what they're good at, what they do well, how they can interact with buyers, and then also how you started interacting with Amazon sellers?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my background, I was early at Klaviyo. So Klaviyo does email retention. A lot of Shopify brands, a lot of Amazon brands are using them for their Shopify side. So I was doing a lot of email marketing and learning about retention tactics and found out that Amazon has no way of like bringing it back for more. So it's crazy you start doing the analysis because I worked with a lot of these brands when I was at Klaviyo. You do analysis on the LTV, so the amount of time someone purchases throughout the year on Shopify. A lot of the times it's 4 to 6x at least what it is on
Mhm.
Amazon. So your Amazon purchasers will be a minority of
Yeah.
what your revenue ultimately will be because it's capped due to the lack of control. So at Swapped, what I started doing for a long time, and we met, early research days, which was
Yeah.
like, how do you actually give some element of repeat purchase behavior to a brand when they have no way of unlocking it? And is there
Hmm.
something you can do with like a thank you or something like that? And then
Yeah.
the hot thing that you were talking about before is that stumbled me in to this entire world of gifting for reviews.
Yeah.
And it has been a journey. I've talked to founders, I've talked to brands, like hundreds to thousands of brands. I've seen done, I probably have more research on this, more QR codes from Amazon than any one person I know, because every time someone
I
sees a
believe it.
QR on Amazon, they text me it.
Yeah.
And I also know all these things because brands, they open up to me right away. They'll tell me what they're
Mhm.
using. And what I've found is that a lot of brands either A, don't know what's compliant, and there's a lot of bad actors, really bad actors out there that will just claim they're compliant when they are blatantly not,
Yeah.
just to
They
get
don't prove it. There's no proof. They're being taken
it's
at their word.
they're being taken at their word
Yeah.
and they're malicious. And
Yeah.
the reason why I say they're malicious is because they themselves know that they are not compliant, but they tell brands that they are. And not only are they not compliant, they have no semblance of even becoming compliant.
Mhm.
Like this stuff that's extremely illegal, like even federally illegal. It's FTC federally illegal to pay someone to leave a review. If you gift a gift card in exchange for a review, it's a $51,000 fine per review.
Yep.
And that's exactly what all these brands do. They say, hey, here's a $20 gift card, which, by the way, doesn't scale economically. Like if you're a brand and you're trying to do the economics of this, it does not look good on paper. So now you're paying someone a gift card for a review, which is totally illegal. And the software providers and agencies are enabling you to do so by holding your hand through the process. So now it's a question of, and what I've found is that obviously reviews are really important on Amazon, but
Sure.
it's a question of what can you do that's federally illegal versus like what can you do that's actually absolutely legal, and how do you power your growth by choosing the good route. And that's what we've been trying to figure out here at Swapped. And it's been a long, hard journey. The answers are not obvious, but we're trying everything under the sun. And we've been working really hard on finding that path for brands to achieve the excellent growth while staying completely legal.
Yeah, and within Amazon's rules. The only, at least in recent memory, you're the only owner of a service like this that even asks me about compliance. So you're already kind of in first place for that, because you would think that every owner of all the different companies that come and go through chats and groups and WhatsApp and this and that would have at least shown us some of this stuff while they're in the tweaking phase or when they're putting it together, or as they start to accumulate more and more brands, because a responsible business owner would be worried if they were putting clients at risk.
Yeah.
And I guess they're afraid of what I'll say. And it's against their whole formula. So I don't hear from those people, but it doesn't make it any less alarming, because I do hear and see those service provider names floating around, people using them in conversations on WhatsApp groups or mentioning them to me privately. And it's like, did you look at their funnel? Did you look at how this works? Are you just accepting at face value that they said they were TOS compliant? And a lot of times I get some scary answers. So I can only imagine what you hear.
Yeah, well, my worry too is that a lot of what happens, right, is like a lot of people see this as sort of like a cat and mouse game of like, instead of doing the more responsible thing, which is trying to figure out how to create a middle ground, they create like sort of this cat and mouse thing of like, we're going to do whatever we can to sort of like point the middle finger towards Amazon's compliance, which is totally inappropriate
Yeah.
and not business professional. And what happens with these bad actors, and what I've noticed is they use the whole, and this is like one of the sales pitches I know they use, which is anything can get you in trouble on Amazon. Swapped has never had a single warning, complaint, anything from Amazon, but I know inventory apps, like little apps that like measure and help you with inventory, that have somehow gotten brands suspended. And it is kind of crazy, like the fact that a lot of things can get you suspended and put off Amazon. So a lot of services will just say, hey, never mind trying to follow Amazon's compliance, like you're going to get thrown off tomorrow for nothing.
The difference is if it's a
Yes.
bogus reason or if it's a complete mistake, you can
Yes.
dispute it and get reinstated pretty quickly. That's what they don't tell you. Yeah.
Exactly. Whereas if you're doing something federally illegal, it might be a little more difficult. And that's my other worry when it comes to like speaking to people like you, like perhaps these brands and these agencies are recommending things really illegal, and they go to Amazon and they go to compliance experts like yourself and they lie about what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I see this happen all the time. And it's extremely frustrating as someone that's trying to do something normal, because I'll get asks from people, they'll say, no, that's a QR code. Like those are illegal on Amazon. And it's like, that's not necessarily true. It's really how you use them. But the fact
It's the
is
same as
that,
asking for a review. I get the
yeah,
same question. Is asking for a review against the rules? Well, it depends on how you do it. You
yeah,
can ask
exactly.
for a review, and you mentioned sending a thank you. You can thank people. Some
Yeah,
people were like, I'm not going to thank anybody because then it's going to look like I'm trying to convince them to leave a positive review. No, that's not true. You can thank people. You can ask for reviews. What the nuance of it and the complexity where it comes in is how you do these things and the methodology. Well, nine
yeah,
times out of 10, the methodology I see is taking it way over the line. So all the
yeah,
people who are like, well, this might be a smidge over the line, I would say 80 to 90% of what I see is not a smidge over the line. And
yeah.
so, and so in theory, they don't even need to talk to me about it because they should have been able to just interpret it that way themselves.
And all of this creates extreme headaches for anyone trying to do it the right way. But I don't want to keep beating the dead horse
Right,
here.
right.
I would love to chat about sort of like what we got coming up and how we're
Yeah,
going
well,
to
let's focus
actually.
on what you're going to be talking about on February 12th in New York, in Manhattan. I've seen the title of your talk and you can give it here again, but just to flesh out A, what you're focused on in the talk, and B, what kinds of questions you're expecting from the brands in the audience.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, what I think is going to be really fun, and I'm like very much looking forward to this event, because what we're going to be able to do at this event is basically socialize a lot of what we're talking about here and like giving more one to one communications that are personally tailored for the brands. I can start and say, like, hey, everyone, I have this one general recommendation for how to do it. And that's actually not going to be accurate for one brand or the other brand, right? So what I excited to go over is a few of our best examples. For example, like if you are a product that requires a lot of education, and I'll just give you one example and then we can go into like sort of like the more general approach that I want to take
Mhm.
during this event. If you're a brand that is like a supplement that requires a lot of education, like it could be very dangerous to not understand how to take a specific supplement. Actually, funny enough, wife is in nutritional PA. She's a nutritional PA
Okay.
and she deals with a lot of patients and shows me these kind of metrics a lot, which she'll talk to patients who are taking supplements improperly. And last year, there were over 23,000 room visits and deaths accumulated from taking supplements
Hmm.
improperly. And a lot of what happens is you purchase these things online and you don't have the education, you don't understand what you can and can't take them with. And obviously, like that could lead to a bad review if you go
Yeah.
to the ER. But then also, like, you might not feel good after you take it. So, like, a lot of
Hmm.
our supplement brands, you just don't feel great after taking. So, maybe the strategy that I'd recommend, depending on what type of brand you are, has to do more with like instead of just thank yous, like it's also really genuine education that keeps people out of the hospital. And
Yeah.
that's something that I really like, just like brainstorming with brands of instead of like, doing this or that, let's tailor your retention, and retention will skyrocket if people understand how to actually take your supplement properly,
Right.
or if people actually understand like retention and reviews. And it's funny because it is a byproduct of understanding how your product works, which is like a review where like, yeah, you can have a supplement product, it's a customer here right in front of me, but it's extremely difficult to tell right on this right here, what the heck do I take this with? I'm trying to read it. It's like it just says consuming this product can introduce you to chemicals. And I
Yeah.
actually have no idea. Like this is exactly how it comes from an Amazon. And I
Hmm.
love this brand. This brand does very well. A lot of brands like them that do super well. I have no idea how to take that supplement. Do I
Right.
put it with water? Do I do this or that? Like it's extremely confusing to me. And guess what's going to happen if your customers purchase your supplement and they don't know how to take it? They could do them some serious harm. What if you take this super caffeinated product with this additional like depressant or this other caffeinated product? Like maybe there should probably be a few guides around that. So it's really building up strategies that accumulate good education
Hmm.
in that use case. There's plenty of other use cases,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm excited about, like really educating brands on how they can get the most out of both reviews and how they can get the most out of retention by actually having these direct lines to their customers to give them more, you
Right.
know?
Not using reviews as the yardstick for all legitimacy, because we can talk about this on another
Yeah.
episode. Some brands come out of kind of nowhere and have thousands of reviews overnight. And if
Mm-hmm.
you as a buyer don't know that some brands just pop up with thousands of reviews and get away with it, you might assume that that brand's been there for years and
Yeah.
that they're entrenched and established. And that means they're trustworthy. Whereas no, they've just gamed the review system. So it's
Yeah.
much better to study, like, how long has this brand been around? When did they get their certifications? Whatever you can find that's publicly available, or whatever the seller can tell you about, how long the supplement's been around. And
Yeah.
also, like you said, the instructions on how to take it, because the less likely people are to misunderstand that, the more likely they are to say, this didn't work for me. And the listing didn't call out conditions like ABC, which I have one of those, and I had a
Yeah.
bad experience. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And there's also like, that's a whole other topic of like how
Yeah.
important it is to make sure that you have like good review. If one supplement does brings people to the hospital on Amazon, that's like that person and all of their friends that are no longer buying supplements on Amazon. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
extremely important for the Amazon community to not allow bad actors like that to exist. And if you start creating these review funnels that just like pay people for a gift card, unfortunately, you're part of the problem because the lack of genuineness with that review is going to directly transfer to your customer experience. But I resonate with those brands because Vine is also not a viable option if that's the case, because the issue with Vine is that if I get a supplement on Vine, I might not be the workout type or the type that needs this sort of supplement. and I might not understand why the price point doesn't match the gain, I might give you a bad review. And that's why a lot of brands have been steering away from Vine as well in different categories, which is what ultimately causes this gap,
I think
right?
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. All right, so you're going to have a lot to say in New York. For those of
Oh,
us
yeah.
or anyone listening who can't be in New York February 12th, best way to reach you if they have questions on this or if they want one of your demos or any other
Yeah. So
information.
swaptqr.com, we've got a demo button, swaptqr.com. And my email is just Andrew at swaptqr.com. I'm sure wherever you can access this podcast, we'll just make sure
Yeah.
to put that somewhere. So we'll
Yeah.
make sure that that gets to you, but,
Mm-hmm.
very responsive on either, and would love to, have this convo with people and show you sort of what we do and what the recommended tailored approach would be per brand.
Sweet. And for anyone who's seen the link to the event, whether you're in the New York area or not, if you look at the speakers and the member of Amazon teams who's coming, yes, there's lots of talk about revenue generation and brand growth and protection, but there's also a lot of compliance, product and safety compliance, but also adhering to, like you said, local and federal laws on top of Amazon guidelines. So that's always going to be a big part of anything we do, but especially this upcoming February 12th. So if you're able to
Yeah.
join us, great. We're looking forward to seeing you. And if not, you know where to find Andrew and you know where to find me if you have questions about any other type of compliance. So thanks again, Andrew, for joining us. I'm sure we'll have you on the podcast again. And thanks everyone for listening to Seller Performance Solutions. Let us know if you have any questions. Take care.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Bye all.